spiritual life is not in principle associated with self-denial or self-infliction of pleasure and frustration on oneself, nor is it in principle associated with the denial of pleasure. These kinds of strategies, which tend to typify traditional religion and spirituality, are the expressions of the problem base of religion and spirituality. These are aberrated models of life, caused by the egoic reaction to pleasure and pain. This is why at the root of the argument of many traditional religious and spiritual systems, one of the first principles mentioned is some fundamental principle of disease, suffering, pain, and so forth. And this has made the basis for all the techniques that are then to be applied in the name of the religious or spiritual goal. And in that sense, religion and spirituality are just addictions like drugs and sex and alcohol and all the rest of it. They are part of the search for cure. They reflect the ego contraction, the self-contraction, the pain that is inherent in the self-contraction. That contraction itself generates at least a subtle pain in the manifest being, and therefore it constantly seeks through addictive strategies to relieve that pain through all the means of pleasuring. And so this principle must be understood by people. You must appreciate how you have been and are continuing to be aberrated by the facts, the functional facts of life, both the pains of life and the pleasures of life, those you have experienced and those you will or might experience. The thought of pleasure and pain aberrates you. It's part of the complex of egoity, narcissism. And it's not possible to truly live the spiritual way of life, therefore, until you come to an understanding of yourself in the context of your reaction to pleasure and pain and your addiction to the possibilities of release. Sexuality, therefore, is a very important consideration because it is so immediate a means of release. It's such an immediate expression of your self-possession. And the orgasm, the moment, the ultimate moment of conventional sexual experience, represents the goal of life. Everything you might otherwise consider to be the goal of life, call it God or whatever it might be, becoming a millionaire, becoming healthy, whatever it is. The orgasm itself is a kind of symbol even for that, and informs your conception even of those things. You have a sense that to be happy, to be in a state of spiritual bliss, must be something like being in a moment of orgasm perpetually, in a state of intensely stimulated pleasure perpetually. And so you find it very difficult even to consider happiness in any other terms. And to practice a way of life that is essentially balancing, purifying, calming, naturalizing, doesn't seem very attractive because there doesn't seem to be any possibility within all of that to become associated with exotic pleasuring. So it frustrates your neurotic goal. So all of you who consider your own sexual life, everyone does in our community, must consider the style of life based on the aberrating effect of pleasure and pain. And everyone should consider the degree to which their life has been controlled by the notion of pleasure that's involved in the orgasm. Consider how orgasm itself is aberrating your sexual life, your capacity for intimacy, your emotional life, your spiritual life. Consider how the mood of your moment-to-moment existence is basically a reaction to the fact that you are not presently in a state of orgasm or a comparable state of intensified pleasure. Consider, therefore, how most of the time you are in a kind of mediocre, relatively contracted emotional state, something less than love bliss. Consider how that is so, and how, therefore, in every moment you're either, to some, at least mild degree, depressed by that, or otherwise seeking to achieve a state of intensified pleasure through sex, even through meditation. And rather than merely continue these efforts, these strategies, through sex, meditation, whatever, to achieve something like orgasm or intensified self-pleasuring, understand this mechanism. Understand how you superimpose on every moment the quality of unhappiness. How you are manufacturing depression, mediocrity, boredom, doubt, discomfort, and so forth in every moment. Because of your reaction, your aberrated reaction to the pleasure-pain possibilities of life. And how your life is not really lived out in the present. How most of your present moments are associated with the past or the future, some mulling over past pleasure pains, and some strategic effort or hope toward future pleasuring and the avoidance of pains. And how the moment itself, therefore, except in those rare moments in which you achieve an experience of extraordinary pleasure, how your moments are generally moments of unhappiness, of boredom, doubt, and discomfort, relative depression, and motivation in reaction to pleasure and pain. Consider how you are in every moment basically aberrated, therefore, or unhappy. And consider how that is simply something unnecessary. It is simply something that you are superimposing on every present moment because you are involved in the mechanics of reactivity and are not in any sense communing with the reality, the fundamental reality in every moment.